Jim Iyke.
Yes, sir.
My man.
Yes, sir.
Look, first of all, I know you know that I don't take this for granted.
Yes.
And it seems that I tell my guests, all my guests, that these days. But
yes, you do, actually. So rephrase mine, please.
Well, so here's what I want to say about this. This is different because I don't know what you remember about our last recording in the year 2011.
Funny enough, I remember everything vividly.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
It was very profound. I just went through a major scandal that time.
Yeah.
And your show was the go-to show, you gave a two-way perspective, which I rarely do. And then I was notorious for not giving my side of the story as well. I just let things slide, so to speak. So the fact that I came on your show and was able to present my side of the stories spoke volumes. I remember everything.
I remember, and this was the thing for me. It was that the evening we were supposed to do your thing. The power grid
yes.
at LTV blew out.
Totally.
And you were supposed to catch a flight to France that evening.
Night, yes.
And you postponed
because
so that you could come back the next day.
And do it.
I will never forget that.
Yes. It's literally, that's why I said it's a full circle, because the same thing is happening now.
Yeah.
I flew into Houston, my partner and I, we had something we were supposed to do today. Okay, as a matter of fact, we had something we're supposed to do today, and then we're heading out there. But we decided, let's do this first. The guy we left, his birthday is like a brother to us, and he was pissed, like really pissed. We just came from there right now, but we thought, what the heck, bro? You get over it. It's a circle. I don't ignore partners. This is a circle. So I told him, this is something again after such a long time that I needed to do, and I'll catch up later.
Thanks a lot, bro.
Always
Look, so here's the thing, because I've heard you speak. You've been everywhere. So you're the man who's been in Ghana, Senegal, Gambia, South Africa. You went to Moscow, Argentina, the south of France. This is you.
Yes.
So I'm thinking to myself that, look, I know Jim was born in Gabon.
Yes.
Right. But is it on this very maligned Nigerian passports that you're doing all this globe-trotting? Please, what other nationality, what other passport do you carry? Is it the Gabonese one or which one?
No, I think I'm overdue for ambassadorial position in some country, but our country just always overlooking supreme talent. We hand it to a less deserving person, because on the premise of carrying that green passport, yes, I've literally traveled the world. Somehow I would always find a visa to these countries, and I'll go there. And I'm a traveler. I just love to travel. I don't socialize that much. I'm not a big crowd person, and my circle is extremely small. I found out a long time ago, and a really long time ago, because it was all peer pressure, so to speak, then, that I don't enjoy the public space. The public domain was not for me. I come alive when I travel, when I interact with different cultures, when I meet the challenges of different people, different idiosyncrasies, religion, creed, and race. And I found that to be my school.
Okay.
After when I was trying to sort space to advance my studies and all that, I thought, why do I have to be in a conventional classroom when the world is my oyster? Okay, I started my odyssey, so to speak, and trust me, it's not only elevated my mind to proportions that is really unimaginable. It left me open for dimensions and perspective that no orthodox classroom will afford you.
So all of this on that green passport? I
did it all before, of course. Now I'm American. So.
You're American now.
But before then.
Okay, let's talk that thing for a minute. One doesn't just become American. It takes sacrifice of time.
Yes.
What was the block of time that you sacrificed? What was that period? Was it that period you were away? What was that period? Because the least amount of time it can take you, even if you're fast, is 4 years. What was that period of time it took you?
But here's the thing. I never really sought to get that passport. It wasn't my order of priority. If you take my frame of references or preferences, beg your pardon, I could have gotten it a long time ago. I started coming to this country long before a lot of people even understood what it meant to come here, and I really didn't want to do it because it didn't stand in my way. All the challenges people thought they had, carrying our passport, and hey, I'm not going to sit here and say that I've not had my share of discriminations whenever I present a green passport across the aisle or counter in every country I've been to. I've seen them turn up their nose. I've been to, well, sadly, Dubai at some point where I threw in my passport and started asking me certain questions. And I engaged them. For me, it is the fact behind the fact. I always say that what is the reason you meet these challenges in different posts, different country borders? What is the reason? They ask you a question, you're amiable, you're open, your perspective is different. You give them the impression, yet again, that I'm here, okay? I'm more of a service to you than you will ever be to me. I'm not here to stay in your country. I'm here to spend my money. I'm here to spend my time, which I think at every premise in my life is being my highest currency. And I'm here to offer value. So why would you look at my race, look at my ethnicity, look at my country, and see that's an impediment? So I had a conversation with two ladies. At first, they acted like their English wasn't so good, but I could sense the British accent behind it. And I said, listen, can we have a conversation? I said, there's somebody behind us. I said, no, we need to have this conversation. I'm speaking for a country. First of all, Google me. I'm this person. So that's the beauty of Google. You can identify who you are in no time. So you're who? I say, yeah. How come you not turned to, how come you've never walked in Dubai? I said, okay, this is the reason. The reason is these questions you're asking me. The first impression you're getting of me, the profiling. This is the reason people like me have not seen your borders or your culture, as a place where they can, come in and plant their seeds and their gifts, their talents. So I think the perspective has to change. Few bad apples can spoil the punch. Okay, this is who I am, and there's a following. There are a whole generation behind me that live this way. So if you attune your mind just a little bit from the left to the right, you will come to a world of realization about amazing, talent and people that are Nigerians. And I'm telling you, they had a 5-minute conversation. The guy behind me was so mad. They didn't care. You had a 5-minute conversation. I saw that, if for nothing, changing the perspective, just these two women at the border of a different country sufficed.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, great. So I wore this hat in deference to you and in honor to you because you wore a hat like this in one of your most iconic roles. You want to guess the role that is?
Bad comment. No. That's about $1.
No.
What? Which one?
Who am I?
So crazy.
So I saw that musical video, right?
That is a generational embarrassment.
Look, here's my thing.
Yeah.
You watch that video and it's cringeworthy.
No,
you're like, oh, do you ever
so
cringe watching it?
I think one of the I will allude to a word, a singular word I use lately. The beauty of getting older is you're less cringy to your past. You're open to, this is what made me who I am. This is the transition. This is the metamorphosis. This is the journey that brought me to where I am. So my question is usually one of the present. Do I like who I am? Am I comfortable who I am? Do I feel enforced? Do I feel complimentary of who I am, irrespective of whatever any other person thinks about me? Me, comfortably, as a person, where have I arrived? Am I happy? So if your answer is in the affirmative, then you will be doing yourself a great disservice not to appreciate what brought you there. So it stopped a long time ago. Now I enjoy it. I'm like, so I try to get into the mindset of who that person was at that time doing that stuff, and how I transited from that point to the next, realm of my life. Without that, would I have been able to realize certain things? No, I wouldn't. I took a chance that nobody had the guts to. As an actor that transited into music, I took a chance that, trust me, it reinforced my conviction that I cannot go with the crowd. Right there in the studio, from Two-Face to all my friends, they turned it to a joke like, guy, no, try this thing, no. You're supreme talent. If you try this thing, you're going to fail woefully. And I said, I'm going to do it. If for nothing, the challenges of it. That album, I made more money than some musicians.
Are you serious?
Yes, I did. Because Immediately marketers heard I was cutting an album. All kinds of offers started pouring in. You know, even with that whole mediocre thing, it was a joke in the studio. A joke that said, okay, this is not even hard. This is what they do. And they said, if you know how to try them now. I said, hey, that's the point. I went there, wrote mine, came in, and I started. And I started calling them for collabos. At first, they didn't want to. I called them and said, I know you're embarrassed. You would do it. If just, let's have a ball, let's have fun. So I remember the first time I played it in Festac for Two-Face. Two-Face was like, who be this? I said, it's me. He said, I lie. I said, we're going to the studio. We're going to the booth. You will see if it's me or not. So he stood, but he did not drop his. Two-Face is such a supreme talent. He wrote his part, that whole who am I part, sitting down in less than 30 minutes. He didn't write. He didn't want to engage until he was sure I could do it. So when we got to the studio, he said, guy, go in there first. Make I not go fool myself. I have a whole career behind me. If this goes wrong, you're going to leave. I will not survive it. So when I went there and started spitting, he got up and was like, wow. Now it's not supreme. It wasn't at their level. But the fact that I was spitting. And then he waited from the moment where we started this conversation. And he knew that I didn't go through any trial error. I just did it, dropped it. He sat down there and he said, now I'm really challenged to come up to par with what I'm hearing. So he started writing. It was boom, boom, boom. He wrote it, go into the studio, did it. We finished Who Am I in less than 2 hours. And when we came out, he looked at me and hugged me and said, a new career just started. So I had fun. I don't care what anybody else says.
So, first of all, what was that year? What was the year?
Now, this is how my mind works. I don't even remember.
Okay, because you look good now. No, I can't remember. You look good now, and you look good then. See, I was watching that thing. I'm like, look, I'm gonna get this Panama hat gold. If this is how it looks on Jim, maybe it looks close to being that good on me. Yeah. So was it a musical itch that you needed to scratch? And this is why I ask, because actors will often do that. Eddie Murphy did that with Michael Jackson. On our side, Ernest Azuzu did that. El Cream, Joseph Benjamin is still doing that, of blessed memory. Well, not Joseph Benjamin, El Cream of blessed memory. Joseph Benjamin is still doing that. Stella Damasus does that. Is it an itch that you needed to scratch?
You could call it that, or at some point. This is for me. They could speak for themselves if given a chance. I think to each his own. For me, this is it. At some point, you would think you're Superman, a demigod, if you like. You know, I just arrived at that status where I thought there's nothing that's beyond me. It's a great place. It's a mindset I'm building in my sons as well. The ability to think you're capable of doing anything you set your mind on. That was my thing then. Whether I did it rightly or wrongly, it doesn't matter. I've been through that journey. You can sit down and tell me about music management. There's nothing that will be new to me. I have lived it, experienced it. I understand the downturns. I understand the business of it. Okay? That's why there's no wasted experience in life. So I did mine because at some point I just thought there's nothing in this world that's beyond me. So this is where the God factor comes in. You're quickly humbled when you find out, and it helps you. It helps manage your expectation. It helps direct and manage your energy as well. Otherwise, you spread yourself thin as you move in life. When you spread yourself in too many quarters, too many directions, too many endeavors. That was my learning curve. Okay, that brought me to a certain Rubicon of life where I understood, okay, some things you will always be good at because you put 100% and you have the baseline gift for it. Okay, you know, there's a thin line between music and films. The transition is always easy.
Yeah, Elvis Presley.
Yes, it's always. You know, trust
always
me.
That.
Once, I mean, the music videos they shoot these days is almost like a feature film. If you actually look at it, you have to have some sort of acting prowess to pull it off, in a sense. So there's always been a thin line. Our crossovers has always been evident. But the thing was that at that time, I just really needed to accomplish this. Quickly found out that this was not my thing. I'm not gifted enough to carry this at the level of the gift I currently harness. And so that humbling factor was what told me, okay, you know what? It's not everything you do. Because truthfully, people only saw one. I was involved in about 10 different endeavors then. I was trying to get into businesses. Some were failing, some were picking up. I was trying to learn it and understand it. I was in music, I was in films. I was trying to produce at the same time. I was trying to write. My guy saw me write music in no time. Say, hey, I need you to write my next album. I thought I was a damn good writer. And I told him, dude, give me an idea. I'm going to write it. So I wasn't writing that. I'm writing script. Script writers will bring me scripts. I'll look at them like it's not good enough. They're like, oh, God, listen, this is the third draft. We're tired. Why don't you just write what you want to and give it? I started writing. Before I knew it, I finished the entire film. So I'm asking myself, why am I even paying this dude? Why am I paying you? I just wrote a better version of what I'm trying to convey to you. So it was the demigod moment, the white space moment where I thought everything is literally within my reach and I can do it. But God don't orchestrate life that way. He doesn't design it. There's a certain awakening. It's for you to know. Maybe pass it to the next generation that you bring to earth. But it's not for you to experiment or endeavor in everything that comes your way, or you spread yourself thin. So if for nothing, that's a lesson I took away from that. That focus your chief energy, focus everything you have in life in one, make it extreme, make it close to an obsession. From there, every other thing that you are to become will be birthed in that space.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you.
That's good. Now, speaking of Ernest Azuzu, may his soul continue to rest in peace.
Really sad.
Yeah. I was in this Houston a couple of years ago with a friend, and we're coming from a comedy show. And incidentally, at that show, there'd been a lot of Nollywood people, actors and actresses, quite a fair few. And so, pictures and all of that, fans and all of that. And so my friend said that, I wonder every time I see actors and actresses from our place, from Nollywood, people whom I respect and I admire, I always wonder just how much money do these people have? Are they financially well off? And he wasn't asking from shallowness or from a flighty place. It's because he's in financial services and he does insurance. So what he was essentially wondering was that if this person, God forbid, if this person has a critical illness or a chronic illness or a terminal illness right now, will all this work that they have put in, do they have the reward to cater for themselves? I mean, people have done 200 films, 300 films. If they fall ill right now, will they have to, as we have seen time and again, will they have to reach out to the public for help? Or can they do this? And so this is my question. When we see that happen, and I'm not casting aspersions on those people who have done that, look, God protect us all, right? The thing is it a question of the fact that those people mismanaged money, or is it that Nollywood doesn't really pay? What is it?
People forget that it's a relatively young industry. There's always a barometer for comparisons in everything you do in life. I mean, bankers, by all intents and purposes, when you put that on the mainstream and look at it, have an overall bigger picture of it, you can't compare with bankers in the first world, so to speak. Third world bankers can be in every other endeavors in life. And that is what, of course, is the bedrock of the brain drain, the talent drain from our economy into here. And why they come in here and they excel in a short, duration of time. Okay? Because our system, our economy does not reward those core professionals in every endeavor. That's why it's called a third world country, and that is why corruption is the bedrock of our economy as well. The reward system is not set up. There's no structure that's set up to reward the citizenry for their input in the economy. Yes, the argument has been driven that we more or less is the main construct of the highest GDP in the sub-Saharan as well as the African economy, and that's why Nigeria became at some point the biggest economy in Africa, and they attributed most of that to our doorstep, that yes, it is our contribution that made that possible. But that is not the chief point here, because I understand the crux of this question. The people that made it happen What sort of structure have you put in place so that as they go, when they get old, when they can't function as they can as human beings, you ill as you go older, obviously. What has been put in place for your rainy days? There's been none. Nothing like that has been put in place. And don't forget the paying system. There's no back, system where there's a pension or people get rewarded for films that they've made in the past. Because the distribution factor, the distribution channels is pay as you go, literally. You do work, you're paid, and you move forward. Okay? There's no reward system, there's no back end to it. I can't say that I'm earning from work and content I've created over the years, over the course of my career, later in life. I can't say there's no check I'm picking up in the mail to that end.
There's no point.
There's no point. There's nothing. It doesn't happen that way.
There's no residual income.
There's no. I'm coming to residual income. I'm talking about the immediate, involvement of each content I've created in my career. So the government didn't sit down at some point to understand that it's not oil that is the bedrock of this economy. It's not going to be. I mean, we all know that in the next few years, we're talking literally in less than 2 decades, this whole thing called oil, as we know it as a concept of engineering or everyday living, will be gone. The green revolutionaries will come into place. The green power, the green energies will take over. Some countries have even adopted it to a point where there's nothing that runs on oil anymore. I was at Rio 20 with the ex-president. We took a small team over there. He took a small team. I was included in the team. And we went over there. And then that was when Brazil was developing ethanol gas as a subsidiary, as alternative energy to oil and gas. So we all know where the next person is going, where this world is going now. What are you going to hold on to? What is in Dubai that's made it one of the greatest cities or greatest economy in the world? What has made LA, Los Angeles, one of the greatest cities, one of the wealthiest cities in the world? It's human resources. It's the gift, the talent that's become the bedrock of its building, is infrastructural growth. We don't have that. The government did not promulgate proper policies in place to safeguard not only the players but the people that create the content as well. The investors have no structure to put in their money and expect a proper ROI. It is not structured that way. So again, it alludes to who comes into the awareness early and begins to make the right move. It's never been how fast everybody moves for me, it's how well. I came to this understanding early, started training myself in financial literacy early, started diversifying the funds that was coming in. So one thing that you can be sure, and I will bring it down, I'll narrow it to the perspective of Nollywood, is that if you work as much as we have, and trust me, all I knew was work at some point in my life. I had no social life. I wake up in the morning, I could be on 4 films in a week. Once I wake up in the morning, I go work out, come back. I had 4 PAs. That's how bad it was. I had 2 managers. They had structured my day. I shoot from 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. to about 1 p.m. with a producer. Take my lunch break. From 2, they're moving me to another set. From 2 to, say, 6 with another set. From that set, I'm moving to 9 beats with the 3rd producer. So there was crazy inflow coming in. But the lifestyle, if you're not careful, will expend it in no time. You understand? So what it will afford you more than anything else is seed money. It will give you seed money. And if you, at that point in your life, forgo every other experiences, including your social life, including every other aspect of your life, even your personal involvement with your family, is a sacrifice to pay, which I think I did. I took that seed money and I started experimenting. A lot failed woefully, but because I was getting constant inflow, I didn't have too much repercussion. There was no downturn. I could always harness another, inflow, another money coming from doing 4, 5, 6, 10 jobs, and then try another endeavor till I perfected my pattern, my rhythm, understood what worked for me and what didn't, understood how to train myself for delayed gratification, understood how to work with experts in certain fields that taught me, hey, this is how to go about it, this is what you do. Talents are different. You find them, then more than anything else, the one thing I did over the course of probably 12 years, and the person that brought me to a realization was my father. Now, I would not call my father a financial expert by any means. You understand? He's an engineer, he lives his life, he's a scientist, he lives his life a certain way. But the man has also been on earth longer than I have. The one thing that does not change, it is the cause and management of money, psychologically, mentally, spiritually. So he called me one day and said, have you attained that financial independence? They know that from day one. I've always sought. I knew I was going to live a certain lifestyle. I knew I was going to live my life a certain way. I knew that the only person that could afford this was me. So he was concerned about, he've always had eye for the bigger picture, for a certain kind of lifestyle that even him, as my parent, could not afford. I mean, I was 8, 9 years old when I knew you give me a certain thing to wear, I'm not going to wear it. You can make me go hang around with certain dudes that cannot have a certain conversation with me, I won't go. I understood my place as a loner and how to manage it, that resource in silence, to my advantage. So he was always worried that, mommy, this boy, you're not big with making friends, you don't have, you don't hang out, you're always stuck in your room, your nose in a book or watching TV or something. How do I define this in future for you? How will you survive? It was important to him, knowing that I'm an only son, that I find brotherhood, I find a certain clique, a circle that I could thrive in. But as time went on, he understood that my power, more than anything else, was in my being alone. So I had to learn a lot of things by myself. I had to make the mistakes by myself. I had to fall by myself. I had to learn how to not to discuss my issue and my problems by myself. It was a certain training in introspection that I had to learn. And so when I understood it, he gave me a simple thing where he failed and said, my bane of the thing that made me fail a lot in financial circles, then I understood it, was this. I was always concerned about owing everything. My dad was extremely wealthy. I mean Dangote like wealthy.
Oh, really?
My dad was very wealthy. A lot of people in the East will remember him. So his financial downfall was epic. You understand? It was epic. It's a man that took everything he had and put in one basket with a certain dispensation, with a certain leadership. I understood that and misunderstood that there's a certain political angle of it. That if you fall short or if you support a certain leadership, another one come into place. The first order of business is to handicap financially everybody that made that first leader, the leader before them, capable. So you're part of their target. So when they came for him, it was either a long jail term or lose everything. So when he did, picking up was very difficult. And so he asked me, you're not in the same circle, but you will make the same mistake. So this is how it works. Take a little bit of crumb everywhere. Before you know it, you have a big fat loaf. Stop trying to take one loaf all by yourself. It was a very trivial, very unstately conversation. One hot night, I remember the AC in my room in the village broke down and he came in with this guy to fix it. I'm still having a random conversation. I was in with him for 3 days. And after that, it dawned on me. When I went back, went through again my throat introspection, it dawned on me that this is the mistake I've been making all my life. The obsession with soul ownership. And then after that, I settled back in, reinforced my next seed, and I started owning little things everywhere. It will stretch you. It will make you trust some people you're not supposed to trust. But I'm telling you, in less than 5 years, the result that came back just profoundly spoke volumes as to where I should be doing. And that, trust me, has become the secret of every business I do. You give me 5%, I'll fund. I will not take the big risk of 100 with you. If 5% falls, it will not hurt me. I'll take 2% there again. So somebody asked me, one day we took inventory of the many things I do, and somebody said, that's too much. I mean, how do you keep up? I said, I don't have to. I have such minute stakes here and there that it's not my business to keep it going. The people with the big stakes, they worry about that. When they succeed, I succeed. When they fail, I go away, not really scattered. So between, all I needed was 5-6 to succeed in different aspects. And then when you look at it, you that own 100%, I own bits and bits of about 10 different entities. Do the math.
I get it. So here's what I heard. I mean, so this, first of all, thank you for nothing. And this is why I say that. It's when one speaks to someone like you who has depth, the host stands a risk of forgetting his own train of thought because he has followed you on this very interesting. So somewhere in the middle of them, I'm like, where are they again? What was I supposed to ask them?
Apologies, my brother.
But this was good.
Said this way.
No, this was good.
Yes, thank you.
This was good. This is what I heard. This Nollywood money. It's good, but if you treat it as the only thing, the primary thing, it will not go the distance with you. You need to treat it like a seed when it's coming.
Do you know this happens across the board? Let's don't Nollywood it all the time as a frame. The nomenclature for not management spreads across the board. I've hung out with the biggest in different industries. We've all heard, I mean, come on, who makes more money than Michael Jackson? If the man at some point could be in financial ruin, who the hell are you? What kind of money will you ever make in life? We've heard of people, politicians, that lived on the edge, that lived their upkeep and their everyday livelihood was epic, was unreasonable. And then once they leave that position, the inflow is not coming because they did not prepare their seed and spread it in different. They can't survive. They go broke in less than 4 or 5 years. We've heard of celebrities that hit the 2, 3, 4, 500 million mark, and then the career just shakes a little bit 1 year or 2 years. They crumble. There's a time I didn't work for 5 years, and not one single movie, almost 5 years, and that time was a time that I said, I'm going to build this thing, even if it kills me.
What were you doing in that period?
That was when I was in the trenches, man. I was symposiums, conferences. I'll go sit down with anybody that will have me. Financial gurus.
You deliberately took out time.
I didn't take it out. It took me.
Okay, you need to explain that.
I went in and said, this is something I can manage with my time. I want to see 1 or 2 people, do 1 or 2 conferences, meet 1 or 2 people, invest in 1 or 2 things. And it didn't work that way. Every time I came to the end, there was another pointer to another person with more knowledge, more resources, and something to learn, more knowledge to acquire. And before I knew it, a year was almost gone. My son came into the picture and I said, it's important I understand this. There were days, trust me, I went without nothing. Oh yeah. Nothing. My nothing is different from other people's nothing. Yeah, it's me, but nothing is still nothing.
Relatively speaking.
I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But there's also, let me put it this way. Let me rephrase. There was a time there was serious concern for where the next inflow will come from. Serious concern because there's nothing in sight. Earning means I anticipate, I'm doing work, and I anticipate income. But when there's no income there's no work, and there's no anticipation of work, in the next 6, 7, 8 months, 1 year, you start worrying about what you kept aside. And that's the truth of the matter. So there were days I sat and had a conversation like, if things go blank, will I survive? But this is what I reminded myself. I left home when my dad said, you can't do this. You're not built for this. There's nothing that motivates you more than the only person you look up to in this life. And I'll tell you this as an example in life. Maybe you want to take this seriously, you don't want to. The only man on earth that wants to see you succeed more than him in this life is not your best friend. It's not your brother. It's not your relatives. It is your Father. The only man that's comfortable in this life to see you bigger than him, that prays it as a prayer. I've known best friends that introduced me to business. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm going through currently in real estate. That took my hand and said, let's do this. I just needed to buy one building, use your cloud, sell it. I run him, boom, next week it sold. He said, oh, okay, let's do more. I said, okay, I'm not going to put in my money. I tied it up somewhere. I don't have liquids right now. Can you hold me down? It's okay. What you earned from selling this, put it back in. And I did. And he added more money. And I acquired 2 terraces. And boom, boom, I called him 2 weeks later, sold. He said, whoa, okay, let's go all out. I'm doing this next project. That I said, you know what? So I did with him like I followed him. Everywhere he had a site, I'll go there, acquire a few, use my off-takers, sell it. And he started using me in a certain sense. So he will make me acquire 2, then he'll give me 12 and say, sell it, take commissions on the other ones, the other 2 is for you. It was like extra. I didn't think it was a big deal. And I did it. Then it became a pattern. Every time I told him, hey, there's this guy, I'm telling you, one of my closest friends, there's this guy I want to get involved. He would run the guy down, don't do it. This is going to happen. And I woke up one day and I said, this is a pattern. And so I didn't talk to him for about 4 or 5 months. I thought I lost interest in the whole thing. That guy never picked up. Anytime I wanted to hang out in some country, he was available. Anytime even in my film, that's when my dad's ideology came home in the most profound form. I had a film I was going to fund that time, and I told him, hey, I had stuff like he said, no, how about, let me do it. He threw in, bro, we didn't sign contracts. In 4 days I got the money. He was willing to do that, to check me, you understand? And then when he did it, I woke up one day and I said, I just acquired my own place. Somebody came into a JV with me. I said, I just acquired my place. I want to use your architect. I never told him when I was trying to run the deal. I didn't even tell him when the bank came into the picture. The behind the scene meetings, every time you tell me, hey, you're on the country, what are you doing? I said, I just want to shoot some small films. Hey, how about that film invest? I said, I'm coming to it. I ran that whole thing. The day I went to him and said, borrow me your people. Because I've worked with them. I know they're very expeditious. I understand how they are. Borrow me your people. It was in between projects. This guy called me and said he's not interested in that film he invested in, that he wanted his money in 48 hours. We share lawyers. So you can imagine what it was like when my lawyer, that's his lawyer, is calling me to say that there's a suit coming if I don't pay back that money. And let me tell you something. I quietly kept that money somewhere. I never touched it, I swear. He got that money that night. Then he got upset that I paid him too quickly. And said, so his money just stayed there for 6 months. If it was in the bank, this interest would have. I called a meeting. And when I sat in there, I let him have it. When I was done, then I called my father and said, thank you. He said, for what? I said, I'll tell you later. My entire perspective changed after that. You understand? It totally changed. And then I focused on it. So he asked me then, and I explained to him that this is how it is now. I've adopted your principle. It's about little bits, and I did those little bits. But he didn't do what he was supposed to until I acquired mine. So it became a lifelong lesson for me that the only man in this life that wants to see you succeed. Listen, I have people that have turned to brother. I don't have any brother on earth. There are men that have put themselves in that space, and by every intent and purposes prove that they are more worthy a brother than my blood. But the question still arises that I always put myself in that space. Would I want in my endeavor to see this person from my premise, from my guidance, succeed more than me? It became an ambiguous question. So you cannot judge any other person by that premise as well. I want to see him do well. But how about if he begins to succeed better than me in that endeavor? Do I want to be the person that will come to terms with the challenges that I showed this person the road and he went further than me? I don't care if he followed another road and went further. But does that reflect poorly on my ability as a man, as an entrepreneur, as even a human being that has ushered somebody on my path and he went further?
Yeah.
Is that something I'm willing to deal with? I'm telling you how humans function. Don't ever take away the feelings of every human being, and so you can't judge. So I came up and I started struggling with that answer. So who am I to judge my friend?
You know, you have no idea how deep. Look, I don't usually shake people in the middle of the show, but take another one.
Okay.
This thing you
keep bringing the handshake, man. Keep bringing
this thing you've shared. You have, first of all, that you've come to the point where you can be honest that you've asked yourself that question and you couldn't answer. That is one of the moments of lucidity that most people will never get to in a lifetime. This thing, because when you were speaking at some point, I was smiling from ear to ear. I have lived this experience where you have a person or people who are supposed to be your own, but at some level they're kind of holding you back.
And I know when it happened to you.
You know, they're kind of holding you back, and then you are not sure because they've been so nice in other ways.
You can't tell the difference.
You can't tell. So you're like, no, this person cannot be doing this to me.
You even think at some points for your own good.
Yeah, because they've been there for me, so they cannot be holding me back.
It doesn't work that way.
It takes a moment. It takes an epiphany to let you see that thing.
Yes, and once you see it, trust me, there's a certain awakening. There's a certain clarity that comes from it. You become totally aware of who you are and how to manage your relationship with other people. I can make it happen. I can have somebody in my space exceed further than me because I know how to make it work, that I will always be in the picture for my personal gratification. It's when you remove yourself from the picture, you begin to struggle. My friend was willing to remove himself from the picture because he misjudged my loyalty and my gratification. If, for instance, he sat down and said, he's been doing this for years. So his fear is, with my clout, with the people, with my resources, I can possibly exceed him in no time. But no, that wasn't what was going on. I swear to God on my dead mom, my plan, and that was where I'll tell you that your intentions will always speak behind you. My lawyer woke up and look, I didn't call him. He was the one mediating between us. One night he called him and said, let me tell you something. You know, Jim called me and said, I shouldn't tell you. That I should just put you on his board. That was my way of saying thank you for showing me the road. He would have been earning for life on a path that he never put one single endeavor on. I called him and said, I want to give him 8%. I want to give 2% to the lady that helped me speak to a certain man of high standing then that brought the JV. She just called me and said, I see you in and out of our bank. What are you doing? Just out of she wasn't even my account officer. That's what I'm trying to tell you, that always be open. And this is someone that's a junior officer in that bank. I will never look at her. We always go for the top people. So she called me one day and said, Jim, great fan, love you, made my childhood days amazing. Young girl, she was for 23, 24. So I see you in and out with my boss. What's going on? I said, this is this. Oh, you know what? So she probably came from one of those families, And she said, you know what, my uncle, this is what he does. He's massive at it. And, his wife is a great fan of yours with his kids. Can I speak to him and see if this is possible? Boom, boom, boom. She called me one time. I said, I'm out of the country. She said, Jim, please try and come within a week. His space of attention is very narrow. Now that I have his attention, he knows who it is. He's excited. Please try and come back. I came back. I always sense, that's the thing. You have to be wary. You have to be conscious. You have to be always attuned. I called my because I finished what I was doing. I just wanted to chill 2 days. I told them move my ticket. I came back that night. He was leaving in 2 days to Israel. Went over to his I sat down and said, listen, he's busy. Let me tell you, the people that will give you will not stress you. Nah. Once you're going through stress and all that, that's not for you. It's not. And don't stress, bro. Once I'm on a path and every time come back, let me think about that. Nah, I'll let you go. I'll let you. I'm telling you, this is a wrong ideology for everybody. I'm telling you how it works for me. Everything has to be tailor-made. I don't like to chase. I only chase when I know that I didn't do it right. But if I do it right, this guy called me and sat down. We had a conversation. He said, I'm leaving. And I don't have time for this. What is your capacity? I said, this is it, daddy. This is it. He said, let me see proof. I said, not to the tune of what you're expecting. I can't do that. He said, let me just see proof. I don't want some idiot came here, we'll find out that there's nothing happening. Let me see proof. The next day, I came back, spoke to my bankers. They said, no, we can't move until we see papers. I said, okay, let me start with what I have. And I went down, I sat down, and something occurred to me. I said, listen, I had a conversation. I said, Daddy, listen, this is what I'm doing. He said, okay. He listened to me 5 minutes, said, let me see proof. Still the same thing. I opened my account and I showed him. He said, let me tell you, my son, this is more proof than I expected. This shows me that you're capable of doing it. And let me tell you why I'm interested in this. Because everything was built before you even showed me you had some money. I had my architectural design. I had my infrastructural design. I had my team ready. I had everything ready. It's just a nod I was waiting for. Bro, I even got the caterpillar that I was going to go and clear. So when he just saw it, he said, listen, go meet so person tomorrow. It's done. Don't even call me anymore. It's done. Except you want to come and bring me a drink, or I have some celebration because my 36th anniversary is coming up, so you just come. And that's it. I left, went to see the lawyer. The lawyer saw me and said, they said, just sign. I got my lawyer looked at him and like, how did he? My lawyer was asking me, are you sure there's no catch? Because this thing looks too good. I said, don't spoil it for me. You know, I know you watch my back and I signed that thing, bro. By the time I got there, another thing hit me. I got there. This man told me he owns a construction company. There was no need for me to hire all of this. You know, this I should go there. That we're in partnership. I should go use his machines to clear things and get things started. Save me a whole bunch of money. I started. Bro, we're about to start now. I called him again and said, this is what I'm doing. I'm setting it up. Lawyer calls me and said, remove 10%. I'm telling you this as a witness. Because it was supposed to be a 60-40 JV. They called me and said, you're like a son. What are you giving me? What would I do with the money? Remove 10%, you know, give me 30, go and do your thing. I just want to walk in there that is ready one day. You tell me it's sold out. I said, in 6 months, I'll call you, I've sold it out. And he said, I believe you. End of story. But the person that is one of my best friends, did not see that potential in me, that capacity in me. He wanted me to empty. What he was asking to do would have led me close to bankrupt to meet his demand, which I was willing to do because I really believe in what I'm able to do. But this man gave me a respite, gave me, and you know, if I had a relationship with him, trust me, I will gauge it. I will look at it from that, you know, from that perspective. But I've never met him. So this little girl, okay, I called her. I didn't want to give her money. She told me, oh, I want to buy this car. I want to change my car. I know she dropped it as a hint. I didn't do anything about it. But recently, they called her and said, oh, my client said, give you so. And she called me, she was literally in tears. Oh, you know how many people I've helped? They've never come back. They give me one small money because I'm some small banker. And then she's then telling me that she introduced somebody to her boss as a client. The boss went behind and took that account, went back and made it look like she brought the account to the bank, and they threatened her to keep quiet or they will sack her. So I told her, listen, for life, anytime you earn money, remember that's because of the result, you know, your kindness to me. That's it.
That's deep. Now look, in there somewhere you mentioned your mom. You mentioned mom, and of course then this came to my mind. The whole thing with the Synagogue Church of all nations. And you've spoken to that. You've spoken to how it was not a setup, it was not done for publicity, you weren't looking for attention and all of that. And I mean, I believe you. And because according to the story that you told to explain that, mom was ill at that time, she was very sick, and they said that they could help. So I mean, I believe you. Now, but this is what intrigues me. There are two things. I mean, there's a lot, but I have to limit it to two. So it's that you didn't even believe in this thing. You didn't want to go. People said, I mean, family emotionally blackmailed you. You have to go. So you went. In fact, you were upstairs to show your level of disbelief. You didn't even want to come downstairs. And then you came downstairs, you're there, they're going around, and you're laughing. And your sister says, stop laughing.
I know the stretch of the story.
Yeah, you know the story. I'm walking those who don't know it into the story,
hit
right?
Hit me with it.
So yeah. And then the guy comes and touches you, and you take leave of your senses. You're writhing on the floor and all of that. So my first question, first of all, is this. Who recorded that thing and who released it? Because that couldn't have been you.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't also the era of phone in hand, and the experience it beforehand is also occurring at the moment. People don't do that. Again, it will show you how organized and orchestrated as it was, let me tell you, good and bad things will happen to you. You understand? Your reaction to it is what will make you come out of the tunnel, the other end of the tunnel, either wholesome or beaten down by it. There's never been anything like greatness without a journey of so many pitfalls and downfalls. I've chalked that particular experience to my lack of knowledge of certain spiritualities. You can never stand as an entity on earth and be capable of explaining everything that transpires in or beyond this world. That would make you God, and no man is God. There are people that manipulation comes from different perspectives: financial, psychological, mental, spiritual. I have chalked this to a spiritual sort of manipulation. Again, the last time it's not my favorite subject, because of course it involves someone that is the love of my life that I think I lost because, that experience was just a lesson. And I think that was my last act of desperation on earth. Last act. I've been in circumstances, I'm telling you, something happened in COVID era. And my baby mama then sat me down and said, "You're the coldest MF I've ever met in my life." And I let it be. 1 month later, I called her and sat her down and told her, "Let me explain why I'm the coldest MF you've ever met." You've never been in an experience where you literally saw life ebb out of someone that you love, have you? And then somebody else give you hope that if you come here, degrade yourself and do the necessary, they will save her, then to be worthwhile, and you still lost that person. You will feel lesser than a human after that. But you know what? I decided to live above it and understand that everything that occurs in life is a construct of my reaction to it. If I'm unmoving, if I have clarity, I think it through. Every other person in the room can be in despair, can come with desperation into that room. I always come with a place of a settled mind, a clear vision, and a very unwavering perspective as to how to handle that problem. I came to understand the power of prayer and personal relationship with God. I understand that I don't need a medium. I don't need any man to take me to God. Because many times I've been in these thresholds and I sat down and I prayed my way out of it. Without desperation, without excessive concern, and that is how life is. It even goes in the act of taking and giving. That if you're ever in the space, say you've dealt with billionaires in your life or people that are financially well off, the more you show them that you need them and you go cap in hand begging, the more they treat you like nothing. But when you bring value and show them I don't need you, they will sort you. It's always been everything that's happened to me in my life is within that premise. So this particular situation, I asked her, did I resolve it or not? Yes. You think I would have resolved it? Because he also included my son. His life was hanging in the balance. If I didn't have a clear head, if I'd gone to crazy like everybody, you think this would have been resolved? Somebody has to come in with a clear head in every picture. I've decided to be that person. And it's a function of that. That was the manufacture of that situation. That after this thing, who else can I lose in this life that will hurt me like this? Nobody. I promise you, nobody, not even my son. Because it was a kind of pain I didn't know that it existed. It never exists. I've always thought I'm the strongest person in the room. I'm telling you, it was the kind of pain that I won't wish on any of my enemies. So when I came out of it, I sat down in Gambia. A lot of people, that's where I ran to. I called the president then. I told him I need to be away. And he made things happen. They kept me in a private shuttle, shot me down somewhere, and I started recouping. And I sat out. I remember the night I sat down on that beach. Okay? Because they were all worried. I've not reacted. I've not grieved and all that. I had my own kind of grieving there. Cried for days, walked the beach. Nobody saw me. It was private mourning and, atonement in a sense, and relationship with a woman that defined everything in my life, that brought me to earth. I didn't feel I should share it. It was traditional to sit amongst people, fun fair, killing cows, drinking and enjoying themselves. It wasn't even something I wanted to share with my family. What I owed my family was strength and leadership. If I'd fallen apart, would have arranged, they would have finished building the house, would have held my 6 sisters together. The man that spent over 40 years with her had fallen apart. So who was going to hold it? If I'd fallen apart, how would I have buried her? So when I finished all of that and I came down to mourn with myself, because I knew this was a loss that was the epic of loss. After this, nothing else will hurt me at this level. You understand? I understood then that never again in my life, not in love, not in loss, not in concern, not in worry, not even in winning, will I show desperation. Simple.
That's deep. That's deep. The follow-up question that I have to that is this. This thing with TB Joshua. People talk about it. It's always been that way. But people always speculate. I have never literally met anybody.
Let me tell you something, Taj. And in full respect, I don't want to cut you short because I think you keep leading this line of questioning. I'll tell you something. He's passed, and I really want to respect that. My mom has passed, and more than anything else, I want to honor that. My experience there, I've chalked it exactly the way I've said it. It's a spiritual experience. Somebody thought there was gain there, but I was not available. My mind is too strong. My spirit is too strong. The people that raised me did too well a job. When they found that I could not be used, the only thing they could do was attack my personality, attack my character and my integrity. Whenever people cannot access you or drag you down to mud, they attack who you are inside. So there's a division of perspective after that. Those that believe, which you couldn't care less. The people that don't believe, that will fight a good battle behind your back to explain who you really are the ones that stop me every day and say what really happened. I give them the respect of the day and explain it to them. But for the court of public opinion and forums, I couldn't care less. I'm okay. I'm comfortable with the fact that my side of the story doesn't have to be heard. Because whether it's heard or not, it will still form diverse perspective in different people in the court of public opinion. I will still be judged for the right and wrong things. How does that count? How has it moved me in life? I've taken away the resource of that manufacture, of that experience for myself. I will never be desperate again in my life. Desperation was what took me there to take my mother there and hoping that a man, quote and unquote, ordained by God, will heal her. It didn't happen. Whether he's a man of God or not is not for me to question. It's not in my place. Who am I? That's for God and him to decide. All I'm saying is that what took me there, I didn't get it. So what do you guys want me to do? To wallow in bitterness? No. And forget the legacy of the greatest woman in my life? Her legacy lives on. I tell our grandchildren about her, hey, how amazing she was. They never met her. That might be the inkling of a regret for me. But anything else is not worth my time. I'm too busy celebrating who she is. I'm about to finish building a nice house. And I've built a monument where I'm going to keep her, where every time any child of mine, anybody walks in and say, who is that? I'll explain to them who she is. She lives here. Day and night, I still have conversations with her some nights. She's never left. She has never left. There's no decision I take in life. When I'm done praying with God, she's the next person. I know how many times my mom appeared to me in dreams. And it's always on joyous occasions. I'm always telling her, oh, I'm worried about this, I'm doing this, oh, this is what I'm doing now, oh, I'm killing it here, oh, I think something is wrong here. There's always been communication. We've always had an amazing, brand of communication. It's never waned even after death. So when somebody asks me questions like this, I feel it's a disservice to our memory. It doesn't matter. It's all in the past. If people don't want to live in my past and draw conclusions, they're welcome. What is it called? My past. This is my present. She lives in my present. She will live in my future. And whoever I decide to share the rest of my life with at the end of the day, I'm going to see parts of her in that person. Whether you like it or not. That's how we're built. There's a little bit of your mother in the woman you love. There's a little bit of it. You can't take that away. Lie to yourself as much as you can. If you're a good or a bad mother, you will see parts of her in who you love. If she was a bad mother, whatever it is in that woman you love that draws your attention, that you love about her, whether it's toxic or whether it is and abates who you are, it's there. Those are traits that you abide by. Those are the barometers that you measure when you go to embrace someone.
Yeah.
So I see it. She lives on everything I do. The way I calculate how I spend my money, she's extremely industrious. She was one hell of a hustler. She lives in everything I do. You know, I'm high in embodiment and in spirit every day in my life. Why would anybody wake up and tell me, oh, he did that? Let me tell you, if she was to leave, 20 TB Joshuas will not stop it. If she was to leave, whether I came downstairs or I didn't, she will. It was her time. There's nothing that happens on earth without God decreeing it. It was her time. It was just me fighting against the tide, swimming against the tide. If I'd come to, because I had done everything right, medically right. We had flown out to 3-4 countries. You know, there was nothing. So I was the one, in desperation, I said, who? Let me tell you, at that time, if Satan had appeared to me, and said, give me your soul in exchange for our life, I will gladly give my soul. I want you to dwell on it. So I got away lightly. If devil had come and said, one condition, she will leave, I want your soul, I'll give you my soul. You only experience that kind of love once in your life. If that thing, as much as I love my father, I would die for my father, I'll take a bullet for my father. If the exchange is my spirit, my soul, I will question it. The only person in my life, if he is my child, I will kill for my child. Pull a gun, I will take the bullet so that my child will live. But if you tell me it's eternal damnation that's for my child, I will question it. The only entity in this life I've never questioned the height of my love, my commitment, and my sacrifice for is her. Period. So when it didn't happen, I sat down and said, was it a device of my need, of my expectation that created this? Because otherwise they would not have gotten me that cheap. Nobody would have made me enter that space. I'm too aware. I'm too discerning. It wasn't the only one I went to, you know. I'd been to 5 or 6 men of God. Is it because I don't want to mention names? How they drove me? Do you know the money they took from me? I just don't want to ripple, because it doesn't matter. I consciously, nobody forced me with a gun. Can he do it? Yes, we're going there. Oh, it takes this. Make it happen. It didn't happen. Who is next? Him. We're going there. No. So it wasn't only there. But it didn't happen. Take it from me. That's the end of it. It did not happen. I can sit down and be bitter. Let me tell you quickly. My present pastor called me one day. He's aware of what I've been through. And he told me, I'm telling you, he's one of the biggest men of God in Ghana. You know what he told me? He said, it is a shock to me that you still love God. It is a shock to me that you even still interact with men of God, knowing where you've come from, what was taken from you. Because a man of God sat in my face, one of the biggest men of God sat in my face and said she is healed. Please ask questions. I don't want to call names. It's not necessary. I'm not here to ruffle feathers. One of the biggest men of God, I went to his church. His congregation will remember the light-skinned woman. They brought my mom, and he looked me in my eye and said, it is done. Start celebrating. This thing is over. Let's service start. We drove her in, brought her in. He prayed openly, said she was healed. My mom slept, went to bed, came back that night, back to the same state, even worse. And I called him. I remember I was in tears and said, why would you make this kind of promise publicly to somebody like me? Why? What are you not the abridged version of God in the physical? The oracle of God, the one we should look up to understand that he exists. So God is a liar now. You're one of the biggest signatures of God on earth. This person has millions of followership, one of the biggest following. And he was stuttering on the phone like, I said, and I left. So it is the one that was televised for the public, for the world to see, that everybody's talking about. That's why I don't want to talk about it, because bigger episodes happen elsewhere. And so my pastor told me, why? How did you? I need to learn this. You come to me for guidance all the time. You come to me for prayers. You come to me. This is a real man of God. Trust me. They can't fool me anymore. This one wants nothing from me. So he said, how? Because I'm struggling. Something happened. He lost somebody, I swear, that was dear to him. He said, how do you keep your faith? How come you still pray for things? How come you still believe after what we did to you? He calls it we. He termed it in the group. And I told him, every time I think about her, I feel no sadness. She didn't give me the luxury of bitterness, of feeling bad for anyone. It was her time to go. She told me herself in my dream. She told me I'm untouchable. Bro, I've tested this life in different ways. I've pushed this life to the edge. I don't share my stories. I've walked into the lion's den time and again, and I walked out. And I know it's not by my device. I'm not the most righteous person. I'm not the person. Everybody knows I'm a little crazy. But how do I survive these things? I just feel she's always there watching me. There are certain decisions I've taken that people think I'm mad. I've said I'm involved in business ventures and I'm working. That night I'll have a certain dream. The next day I'll walk out. Lucrative businesses. They will call me names. My lawyer doesn't doubt me anymore. There's someone who started extremely lucrative. In the middle I told him I'm out. He said, okay, that's how you feel. Yes, he stops. There's somebody that's close. My sisters call me and say, hey, see what's up. I say, okay. After 2-3, I say, don't do it. My intuition has been honed to a point where it scares me. I'm telling you, I'm not playing with you. Even as I speak to you, if this wasn't meant to happen, it will never happen. If you let it be 20 bodies, it won't happen. Once something doesn't feel right about somebody, I know people. And it's not by psychology, it's by spirituality. I just spent some time with you. I will decide if I want to go along with the manipulation. I will decide. Because it won't hurt me. But when time is due, I'll sit you down and tell you why you're wrong for picking me to manipulate. I did a land deal recently. And in the middle of it, I called the guy. And I told the guy, I've never brought 4 or 5 clients to a place and it doesn't work. What's going on here? He's a general. Oh, he told me all kinds of story that is cutting me off from it. I said, you're cutting me off for asking a question? Cussed me out, cut the phone. I felt bad. I'm like, shouldn't I have just shut up? Bro, I'm talking 6 figures. Good money. And I just felt bad for 5 days. But you know what I did? I woke up one day. Again, after having a conversation, because every time I'm concerned, she comes. And I went there, took my oil, I prayed. Early in the morning, I went there, bodyguards, everything. He had his people. There's a general. I say, I just came. They say, okay, what you they do here this early morning? I say, get one client where they come. I won't wait for him. He said, make you go in for the mega please. I said, no, I want to enter. I went inside, short prayer. If this is for me, it's for me. Came and left. Going to my driver, turned around. Even my driver was pulling his seat back to sleep. I came, I tapped him and said, let's go. He said, I got the person, then they come again. I said, I don't see the person. I've seen the person I need to see. I got him down and left. Bro, I don't know. I can't explain. I don't ask me to. I only understand the pattern of it. I understand the laws of it. And that's all you need to know sometimes. We got a buyer recently. And I didn't even bother. He just asked them, oh, who are you contacting me through? They say, so person. Now he's embarrassed to call me. So he calls his lawyer. And his lawyer says, oh, I said, you know what? My percentage just increased. I want more percentage. He said, no, standard is 5%. I said, for people. I found out that you people weren't able to sell that place in a year. I want 10% or nothing. They came out 8%. I said, okay, it's fine. Dude, it's done. My perspective in life is different. I will never follow the laws the way people do. I think they are really, if you stay on that frequency, if you allow yourself to elevate on that path, you will understand how life really works. I don't stress about anything. I don't worry about what other people are doing. I'm blind, deaf, mute to anything else around me. I just understand the vibrations, the frequency, and how to stay on it. I don't ask questions how it happens. Anytime I want a solution, I don't begin to ask, how would this person know? This person needs like 10 people, has 10 bodyguards, 10 PAs. How do I attend? But once it's clear in my mind, this will happen. I sit back. This is where you're getting wrong. The stress and the worries and the desperation on how to connect to make it happen is the problem. I sit back and I wait. The only thing I do is that if it begins to take a certain protracted time, I go back again and intensify prayers or find out if I'm stressing, and usually I'm stressing. I lay back again and wait. My brother, 9 out of 10 it happens. 9 out of 10 it happens. I'm sitting on a plane, he's on business class. I walk over there's no bodyguard, there's no PA. I offer my hand. Oh, you're that movie guy here. We'll sit down. Is this seat free? So I say, yes. I sit down. Pitch my shit. 5 minutes. I go back to my seat. By the time we're landing, we're in conversation. He's hiding. He's going somewhere. I've offered my value. Oh, no, I can come pick you up. Hang out. Show me a good spot. By the time he gets home, he's calling me. Have fun. Now you don't come back. I said, I got 2 weeks. Once you come, call me. It's done. But I'm telling you that if I go to the office every day and sit down and wait for my turn to see him, he will start avoiding me. His PAs will start playing me. There are people that come to me. I allow them access full without my layers. My PA will come and say, now they're used to it. We allow him. I say, yeah, let him come. There's a young girl that we're funding right now. While others are stressed and show me ambiguous this thing, they have MDs, PhDs, and da. No. She just cornered me. She was serving at a restaurant in a lounge. Sat down and said, they're going to fire me for this. But this is what I want to do. And I think I can do it. It's been my dream all my life. I said, why do you think so? Explain to me in 5 minutes. She sold it to me in 5 minutes. The Indian manager came, said all kinds of stuff. I was apologizing to me. I'm so sorry. I don't know why she said. I said she wanted a picture. I haven't tried a live for her. I didn't know there was a CCTV watching all through. I came back the next time and said, where is that girl? And I fired them. They said they suspended her. Oh, she didn't lose her job. Yes. When I was going, I talked in something. For the time I think she was suspended. Folded something. Called somebody I thought his face attracted me. I said, take 5,000 from me. The rest, give it to her. Don't take this money for yourself. If you take this money for yourself, your problem will start from that day. Mark my words, time and everything. Take this money, make sure it gets to her. If you take it for yourself, I promise you your problems start from that day. And I left. I don't know the result yet. I'll find out when I come back on my return trip. There are ways things are done. Your job is to stay out of the way. Put your wish out. Put in the work necessary. Make sure you have the gift. Make sure your intention is good. For me, every endeavor, every milestone in my life, I decide who I will bless. I don't understand. I don't want to do tithing. It's complicated for me. You must understand. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's your belief system. It's just complicated for me. Me, I could have an agreement with God. You go foster yours. Everything in life is an act of negotiation. I tell God, do this for me. I'm changing 5 people's lives. 5. And those 5, I'll call people somehow extremely desperate people, as people that need this resource, need that token. If it's 500K per person, I'm offering 1 million, I'm offering. I will find people that need a widow, a son, or someone that needs gift. He will come. I'll pay. I'll move. That is my tithe. It works for me. It's really that simple.
You've done above and beyond. Thank you. In that question that you paused me and started to answer, you actually answered what I wanted to ask you, and you did it more than I could have even asked.
Thank you.
You know, it's that your faith has endured, and you've been able to discover yourself even deeper than you thought. Thank you, and I sympathize with you. If we had time, I'd tell you how my father's death, you know, when I heard you speak about that thing on another interview, I'm like, man, Jim and I share this thing. Like, this thing comes and you thought you were broken, and then another level comes. You didn't know there was another deeper fracture. Every day, this thing broke you more than you thought. You didn't know, but we don't have time. So thank you for that one. Now, so finally, this is what I want to know. I met another woman just now, just a beautiful, just beautiful person, and I don't even mean that in pulchritude. I mean that internally, and this is what I want to know: Will you get married again? This is why I ask.
Let me explain something to you about this life. Okay, putting me on the spot like that is very mean of you.
No, I don't.
But you're my friend, though.
Oh, yeah,
but it's a beautiful question. Let me again allude to my idiosyncrasy. My belief system that love is the greatest vibration in life. Do you know some people spend their entire life, they never find it? I have a friend, his name is Bode. Once in a while I sit down with Bode, and Bode never stresses about certain things.
The Bode I know.
Yes, the Bode we know.
The Bode we know.
So Bode doesn't look at relationship in that wholesome, traditional way. Bode will stay out sometimes 3 a.m. because sometimes people misjudge how he lives. But they can stay with me 4, 5 a.m. if the pursuit is right. And he never has to worry about who is at home. Okay? I'm trying to tell you how unique an experience is in this thing called marriage if you find the right person. And then sometimes when Bode doesn't see value in being around you, he lies the dumbest lie just to escape. Everybody might be offended except me, because I've come to understand him, and he goes home. I've met his wife 3-4 times. He couldn't have married anybody else. It wouldn't have worked for him. Of course, there are ups and downs. I'm sure they have their share of troubles and all that. I've seen his kids, wholesome kids, extremely intelligent. You understand? So, Bode is somebody that I've been at an airport as some, but they doesn't understand how I appreciate him. I'm just trying to paint you a picture, you know. Whereas I missed a flight, I couldn't book a flight, and I called him. Boom, boom, boom. He doesn't stress about certain stuff. As a matter of fact, when I wanted to film, he told me a story. He told me a story, and I told him we're going to shoot it. He didn't believe we're going to shoot it. I said we're shooting it. I brought another partner in. Boom, boom, boom. I said I'm going to direct it. Boom, boom, boom. We'll produce it and put it together. You know why I brought him in? Because the yin and yang thing, his energy is different. So, but it comes with a charm offensive in everything he does. And I'm telling you, I think is a function of the kind of home he runs. Why he married someone that is totally amiable and complementary to his lifestyle and his energy and who he is. I don't think if Bode goes broke tomorrow, he will ever have to worry about who he left at home. And I don't think if he has $1 billion, anything specifically will change except material things here and there. is a blessing. So, the person I'm seeing now has that. You understand me? We discover different things in each other as we go. But one of the things is that, that my discernment, sometimes I believe, except recently where I say, is this a curse even? Is there a downturn in knowing too much? And it's not intellectually. Mine is not intellectual. It's a certain kind of wisdom. It's unconventional wisdom where I know before I see or hear. Where I know by what you're not telling me rather than what you tell me. Where I see rather than everybody listen, every time you come to somebody, believe me, what you offer that person is presentation, which is your best foot forward. The first impression, that's why it's called first impression. When the person transcends that, he gets to know the real Taju. Your guards are down. You can be goofy, you can be dirty, you can be unpleasant, you can be angry around that person. That is who you are. There's something every time you meet somebody, and please, I want you to practice this. Take it as a little offer from me. It's called micro expression. You know what micro expression is? In the millisecond it takes between when you cross a room and put your hand in another person's hand to feel his pulse and his energy, there's an expression that goes on their face. They quickly wipe it. It can be with a woman you've dated 10 years, a guy you've known 15 years. It's called micro expression. I'm even letting out some secret I'm not supposed to, but what the hell? I have mastered it. I did it back to back, read on it. I swear by default, by errors and omission, I mastered it. Every time I walk into a room, I just pan everybody's face. Some is jealousy, some is disdain, some is sheer anger, some is even hate. And usually the one that welcomes me most, that bears these expressions, then they switch immediately to the impression, to the presentation. Then they smile and hug me and pat me on the back and tell me how pleased they are in having me in the room. It's a lie. They've already betrayed their true emotion by that millisecond expression called I live with that code. What am I trying to? I'm just trying to tell you that I'm beyond being fooled. So whoever I'm with, it doesn't matter if she's the most beautiful person. She could walk in here and just be the most unattainable person, the most unreasonable person, but she is tailor-made for me. Because I can't be with anybody else that would bring doubt in question. I'm beyond it. Idris Elba, let me tell you, because I want to tell you that it happens even at the highest level, was asked about his recent wife. If he didn't work out, what will happen? He said, that's it. Bachelor for life. One bad experience is enough. Grown up kids. Successful career. What else do you need? He said he had it in him for just one more relationship. So that before you begin to think it only happens that people settle. No, bro. Except you just want to be an idiot, transiting through life for no reason, going on this journey for no apparent reason. Because I love being married, I love being in a home, I love coming home to somebody. We all do, except you're not half a man. And I was raised as 100% man. What is life if you can't share your losses and your successes with someone? Take a walk with someone. At some point, you're going to get tired of walking alone, of celebrating alone, of winning alone, and fighting alone. Going to bed alone, and reminding yourself every morning how strong you are. I don't have to remind myself how strong I am. It's there. Whether you see it or not, it is there. It's unmovable. I just need somebody I can be weak around them and be comfortable. Period.
That's deep. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That's deep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for Bode, who is a nice guy.
I didn't say he's a nice guy.
Okay, well, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy to me.
He's just somebody that discovered a little way to be. He's nice to me.
Yeah.
I've heard people talk about Bode sometimes. The consensus is that he's a nice guy. But I also have people that say, oh, don't play Bode, he's cunning, is that. But yes, but he's nice to me.
Yeah, he's nice to me.
I fight with him all the time, but he's nice. It's my person. If you ask Bode now about me, Bode will tell you spark of temper sometimes. Extremely generous. Genius in a sense. Unmanageable. Great friend. My relationship is tailored for him. Nobody else can manage me like that. Or few people can. If Bode now call me, say, no do him, I'll give him hell, but I won't do it. I won't do it. It doesn't mean, and then sometimes you tell him don't do it, I'll tell him F you, and I'll do it. It will not stop him calling me the next day. We've had terrible one set, we had a quarrel that the next day. He called me the next day, early in the morning, and said, listen, we don't even have to apologize sometimes. He just explained, this is my perspective, this is it, We don't hang around emotions. We don't have time for it. That's why I can't be friends with everybody. I need somebody that won't be hung up on my last act. I'm too transitional for it. My propensity for growth is at a alacrity that you can't keep up with. Who I was yesterday is different from who I am today. So it's not everybody that can keep up with that. I need somebody that I won't call for 10 weeks and he's not in his feelings. There's a time I didn't call him for 4 months. He didn't call me too. We don't have to. But when we call, it's value. Hey, what's going on? I'm coming to town. This is what I want to do. Boom, we start. I don't want a friend I'm in your life every day. It's never going to work because I'll never show up for your kid's birthday. You will find me wanting at your anniversary. When you have certain issues, I may not be the one to reach, but I'll tell you, when you call me and I sense, and it's not even a function of what you tell me, I sense that you need me. I'm telling you, I'm going to move every mountain. So you decide the kind of friends you want.
Okay.
Mine doesn't have to be there all the time. I don't need anybody that's in my space.
Cool. So this project you're working on with, but is it done? When are we going to see it?
The most amazing. Listen, I know I can't beat my chest and say this, but I'm telling you, if you didn't ask me about this, I would have taken offense with you for the first time. Yeah. It's called Rent a Room. I think it is one of my finest creation.
That is a lot for you to say.
When you've done over 20 years in a certain endeavor, it's a very profound statement to make.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you why. It's different. I directed it.
Hey.
I directed it. I produced most of it, but they did the rest because it took a lot of me, so I could focus on a lot. And we executive produced it together. I more or less wrote it. It's actually originally Bode's story. So we expanded it and I wrote it. Okay? And when I brought that, why it's unique is that we got a director. They asked the director a simple question. Are you capable of this? He said no. He called me. I said, fire him. So we fired him. Now, but I was in London, but they asked me, you're coming in. 1 week we're starting this project. Who is directing? And I said, I'm coming. I broke the news to him just before I left. I'm directing this. He kept quiet. Now, let me allude to the kind of friendship I want. Everything in Bode doubted that I was going to do this. Because it's a place I've never been. It's a space I've never been. They weren't even sure I had the temperament for it. It's a different kind of management of human resources, apart from the gifts and the talent that come with them. So even he was in doubt. So I'll tell you the kind of friends you should have. The one that even in doubt, they support you. Even they don't know you can't do it, they will support you. If that L came, let me tell you, if I didn't do this job well, he would have taken that L with me. It would have been his downfall as well as mine. Every day that we came together, I saw the doubt in him. In fact, because I didn't say much, I didn't tell them of game plans. I didn't say anything all through our creation process. So of everybody that had doubt, it was him. I said, this I'm going to see. The first day we called shot and I started doing what I do best. When we're done with that first scene, he was the first person I saw that. I never asked him, he's here. I've never asked him what you felt that day. I just saw relief that damn, he's really capable of doing this. He really knows what he's doing. And then after that, the question that arose is the talent we invited from Nigeria said to him, "Oh, are you sure you can do it? Maybe you should get a more competent, director of photography that will aid him and all that." But he said, "Listen, he knows what he's doing. I'm telling you, he's in his element." And when they came, they believed too. So it's after the fact. I didn't care about other people's opinion. My own is that, are you the kind of friend that even if you're in doubt of me, will support me? I told you what I didn't tell you, that I told over 12 people this, including a relative. They told me, don't try it. Stay in your lane. You're a producer. You're a man of power. You say it, people must do it. Do you know, as a director, this is you coming out naked now. If you fail, if you don't do it well, they'll be like, okay. He ventured into a place where he finally crippled him. Yeah. My relative, somebody I trust, just like an uncle to me, said, who is funding it? I say, you're funding something you know you've not done before. Why don't you find somebody, second the person, and then go through the process and understand it first, then the next one you direct. That's what they told me. They will always project their fear on you. But the person that stood near me never one day said, bro, are you sure you can do this? He always my discernment read all the doubts, the body language, the micro expressions on him. Every time I'm telling him, it's always, there was no full belief. There was always like, man, I'm going to go with you because you're my guy. But at the middle of it, when he was calling people, I never had to, that's the way I operate. I never have to validate myself for anybody. That's my core strength. I've never, my colleague walked in here and said, hey, when we start this, let's say, I told her, shut up. She's top 3 here. I said, oh, shut up. Don't you ever in your life tell me that. If you're not ready to do this, I'll get your return ticket back home immediately. In the middle of it, for even every single move she makes, she will come to me and say, did I do it well? This is somebody with over 15, 18 years experience. Did I do it well? Because I was breaking down that story in a way they've never seen before. And the single reason is different. Most directors are technically sound, on top of their game as regards the technique of directing. They are not actors, directors. They know what they want. They don't know what they don't want. I know what I don't want. When you know what you don't want, your clarity of purpose, of direction is different. Because as an actor, I am the space where they're operating. Most directors cannot act. Trust me, everyone that made the transition is woeful at it. I don't want to mention names. But most directors, most actors that transited into directing somehow miss the technical point. They understand the rudiments of acting. But my brother, if by any chance you can bring into a signature both of them as a gift, you become unreasonably proficient.
And you attained that with Directorial?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. When are we going to see it?
7th. Next month.
Okay, for perspective, we're in September now.
Yes.
So we're going to see this 7th of October. Okay, we're sitting in Houston talking about this. And this is Bode Ojo, by the way. Mm-hmm. For those who are wondering who this Bode is, this is Bode Ojo, by the way. I just for posterity. Let's just look. I cannot wait to see this, Jim, because I mean, I've heard you talk about other projects, but this is exciting. And this is your directorial debut.
Yes.
And you're saying this is it.
Okay, again, I don't like to trump my horn, but I've directed a feature in London before.
Yeah.
A movie I made with my aunt. I direct full feature film is out there. We sold it immediately after that. But I don't even like to talk about it. It's a small project. So I deemed this my directorial debut because it's a bigger project. And of course, we didn't mention about the melting point, the ethnicity, diversity in it. The diverse ethnicity in it is mind-blowing, I beg your pardon. It is mind-blowing. We had Hispanics, Indians, Caucasians, African-Americans, Africans. Bro, it's a United Nations rich.
Where was this shot?
In Houston.
In Houston right here.
2 months ago.
Man.
We came in here. When he was telling me, listen, this dude, let me tell you how dreams. When he was telling me this story, I have this story, blah, blah, blah. I was looking at him, ask him, 20 minutes I didn't interrupt. When he was done, we were going out. I was going shopping. He was going to take me. I told him, but they were shitting this. He said, I just want to give you the story. Let's see how we can. I said, buddy, we're shooting this film. And we left. How we started to unravel, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I never get in the way. Everything started falling into place. Can we get the script? He said, oh yeah, I can give you an idea of it. He gave me the idea. I wrote it, sent it to the first girl. Ask him. The girl that wrote that, he recommended this girl. This girl wrote the story, sent it to me. I said, I hate the way she interpreted it. So, but they was like, yeah, I know to like him too. I said, let me find a writer. I got this guy. This guy said, oh, it's complicated. I don't know how to put it. I said, again, I asked myself, why am I giving this work to people? I burned the midnight oil 7 days, put it out, sent it. But they said, can we achieve it? This thing, I said, this is what we're shooting. And let me tell you how complicated it is. We got to set. I turned the script upside down. I told him, we're shooting. We were rewriting every scene as he went. Ask him. And all my actors, all my talents were mad at me. Like, how can we read the script, practice the script, and come on set? And the director changed everything. I changed the entire thing. I said, everything, every day I come to set, whatever I bring, you shoot. Do you know the level of trust your talents have to attain to trust you to do that? Go study for a script. You've been in our ward. And then come to set and director tell you, as you know this story in this book and this script, drop it. You now have to allude to my decisions. Follow me every step of the way. It's a different kind of leadership, and tell you, I swear it's exciting because you don't know the twist and turn every day when you show on set what I'm going to do. It came to a point I started even twisting and tailoring the story to the locations because we got a better location than the script officially wrote. We came to a farm, a proper farm owned by a U.S. military and marine veteran friend of ours called Josh. It was a farm he just inherited from his dad. Expansive. We're talking almost 2,000 hectares. And I said, kill half the scenes in different locations. Bring it here. And again, the uproar. Oh, he's pushing it. Oh, it's too much. How are we going to do this? I said, this is it. That's it. We're doing it here. And I started. And let me tell you the truth. I can confess it now. I didn't know what to do at that point. I just knew it's the right thing. It's the power of discernment. So while they slept, are you ready to stand by your word? While they slept, I was up at night, rewriting, thinking, let me don't make a fool of myself. Am I pushing it too far? Every morning I had to come up with something. Every morning. Handwritten. 80% of the script was handwritten. Every morning I will write and bring it. And still go direct it and still play the lead. So if you were not with the right partner...
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Jim, so you came in here. You asked me how long this was going to be. I said 45 minutes. You said, 45 minutes. Well,
but I also paid you a compliment.
Yeah, so you said, but you know this was going to be good. Yeah. Now, this has been exactly 1 hour, 40-ish, almost 40-ish minutes.
All right, let's end it.
And so, look, I want to thank you for this because we can keep going. Yeah. I look forward to seeing Rental Room. Yes. I look forward to seeing what is next for you romantically.
That's really well.
Yeah, I look forward to what is next for you romantically. I will do this again very soon, hopefully. Thanks a lot, bro.
Always an honor, my brother. You're ahead of the game.
Thank you.
Good to have you back.
Thank you, bro. God bless you.
Yeah, bless you too.
Thanks a lot. I want to ask you, when I put off this thing, I'm going to ask you that thing where you said you knew the friend thing that, because I didn't want you to mention, you people were gone. Bye. You tell me this now when I have this thing.